Hello, everybody, and welcome to Strictly Football. And as usual, Bevan Sunura and Valentine Mabugu are joining me. Gentlemen, a very interesting weekend we just had. Caps United beating Chicken In. First time in 7 years. Bevan, you happy? I mean, you don't have any reason to, but are you happy?
You know what? It's bound to happen. It was bound to happen at some point. To say maybe there was going to be a season that they're going to break the jinx. It happens in football. Sometimes a team can be your body side, but now more importantly, it happened at a time where Caps United are desperate for the points. As you can see now, they have had two very big games and they were able to collect maximum points. I think what that does to the team is it brings with it a lot of confidence to say they traveled to Manica Dynamos, they won. Then the next game they played was to Chicken In, then they won. Put aside the fact that Chicken In themselves are struggling, but bringing the statistics that you just alluded to, you realize that it's actually a very, very important result for them. But I would say Chicken In were largely the better side in the game, uh, but somehow Cape United managed to win. So if you look at football from the perspective of trends, that would probably speak to luck having turned, the tide of luck having turned towards Cape United, because there were games of, I think, the seven fixtures that they have lost, there were games that they were really unlucky that they ended up losing because Lady Luck probably was, it was not in their favor. But when you see them getting to win a game like they won last weekend, it speaks to maybe the tide shifting. But you can tell that maybe there is movement and there's change, and they are slowly climbing up the ladder. I think they are number 13, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, the points are beginning to come, and I'm particularly impressed by the form that Udai has recently found himself in. I think it's also to do with how the midfield was posted. You've got like your Eric Manokuri now playing there. It then gives Udai a bit of latitude in as far as his movement. You can see the movement that he made when he went on to score that goal, how he ran into the box, positioning himself clearly. Uh, I think there's a bit of balance now with the midfield. So maybe I've got a feeling they're probably going to be the first team to collect maximum points from most.
Ooh, yeah, that's going to be very interesting. Valentine, you've got a smirk on your face. You agree with Bevan? Caps United back and probably going to upset the log leaders.
He doesn't have to agree.
I really appreciate the decision that you've made, and it's now showing a bit of fluidity, and I like the movement of Eric Manokore from being a centre back to play just in front of the centre back. I think that is his natural role. It also allows, brings a bit of creativity to ball that Eric Manokore is taker, and he knows how to pick a pass. We saw how he picked a pass to find to score. It was a well pass in the 18 area. And I also like to see playing in front. When Tanaka Shadira comes in, Shadira can play just in front of Eric Manokore. And then maybe a bit further up, because I've seen Martin, he's been shy of the goal and he hasn't really done much to create and scoring for Caps United. He's a good player, but I think at the moment issues of confidence and many other issues that I'm not too sure I can point at this juncture because I don't spend much time at the Caps United training ground mentally. I think he's still a bit affected, and he hasn't been scoring. He's somebody who's used to scoring. But if you give Kudai Benyu that score just behind number 9, use your 2 wingers, Bamusi or Junior Bunjira on the other wing, then you have Kudai Benyu coming just behind the center forward. I think it's working for them. It's not something that I feel Cape United need to set up. That's how they need to set up themselves and also enough goals to win games. And that's great for them. And that game, I feel Chicken in wasted quite a number of chances. They created a lot. It started under a lot of pressure. They didn't pay attention. They lost that game. So you need that movement. You need that balance. So with Janata Shakiro coming back from suspension against Malls, I feel that's how they need to set up. They need to have Eric Manoka just behind, play behind the 2 center forwards. Just the more they know how to find the long pass. They find the pass to Kenya, who I feel also at times too one-dimensional. If the not can change, sometimes this movement that he just wants to go to the right all the time and just push the ball forward and try to outpace the defender. He needs to be able to check in, because one thing that he possesses that other players don't have in the league is a very good cross. That's what he does. And he can just go sometimes the day to predict and be pragmatic in his attack set that is only one-dimensional. Just one I can put the bar line and then we take cross in that air. So that's how I think it's a good movement for Cape United. You can tell that they put it to spark, but all they needed to was to, push the player properly. Very good appassionate about that. Managers to reach Rao and to I think I still want to see the Cameroonian Bolo playing as a center forward because of the crosses that Bamusi and Junior Bunjira can play. And every time, unfortunately, this season when he was given an opportunity to play, Bunjira wasn't playing then. So, sometimes you see the going to West. But I think the Cameroonian in there as a center forward, they can change the game. They are on the right trajectory. I think how they want to play and how they've become solid. United and they can start going forward.
Yeah, sir, I have a slightly different opinion. As far as Mbolo is concerned, I think this is one player you probably want to count your losses and deregister, because you are looking at a player who's, when you bring in a foreign player, you are saying you are outsourcing expertise. You are bringing something that we do not have locally. This is his second season. He's yet to score. Look at, I think, what's his name from Simba Bhora, Isaac Gurira. These, when you talk of imports, these are players that you look at. These are guys that are chipping in with goals. Well, for Mbolo, for me, is just afraid, and he has not really shown me anything that would justify his continued existence in that setup. I think it's a waste of slots. You may want to maybe count your losses, or maybe mutually part ways and have him go elsewhere. But sometimes it's difficult when you've got commitments. There are contractual obligations that are there, but if there are ways that you could maybe cut, minimize damage, I think these are players that you would want to create to part ways, so that you create slots for other players. Coming to Junior Valentine, I feel, yes, you may call it one-dimensional, but it's his strength. I'll give you an example. If you go back to 2004, 2005, you had Raymond Undi. You could argue he was probably one-dimensional, as you are putting it, but then again, he spent the whole season, and people were not able to do that. I just think he needs also to master that one dimension. And in terms of crossing the ball, I think he's one of the best in the league now. So if he's able to master that, it's okay. But at the same time, I think at some point he needs maybe to be able to tuck in, like you said. But I would encourage him to continue mastering that line and bringing in the cross, because like for example, they've just recently brought in that tall striker from Yadah that he was doing business in Zambia at that point. I think with that kind of height, you would need then Junior to be able to continue bringing in and looping in those good crosses. But I must not end my point without mentioning how Matindife is sort of regained form. I was part of. I think you saw what Marco Gold was. What wrote on his post about Matindife. I was actually with him on that day. We were sitting together when Matindife was making a promise to the then coach Lloyd Chitembu to say, this year you're going to be writing about me doing well in football. And I think he's beginning to live up to what he was promising, because the past 2 games that Kevin played, he has done well, and one hopes he keeps on working and working. Like this, a guy who get onto the scene with a lot of potential, but somehow he lost his way along.
He's a good player. I think that is the challenge. He's somebody I feel United, because it's one thing for a player to promise to do one thing and then now more than challenges and still works on that. He's a talented player.
That's Matindife.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. Plus, I love the passion and the fire. He's relentless. He's going to give you 110%. You remember your David Koripo, talented and also very hardworking. So, yeah, you would want to have such players in your team.
Looks like Innocent is gone, but what we can do, also have to look at the upcoming game that is posed against the Cape United, a big case in Cape United for Ian Bukala and his backroom staff. I believe they can conjure a surprise for me. I believe looking at how
would you call it a surprise, really?
Yeah, I would. Why? We are talking of a team that is very informed, Birmingham, which has not lost this season, and doing well and sitting at the apex of the log, and to say, okay, that's a team that is garnering for the league title as well. So you ask yourself that. I mean, they've scored 19 goals and haven't lost a game. They've had 7 goals, which I feel to be their undoing, because now teams are closing in on them. Look at Simba Bhora themselves now with 29 points, just 3 points behind them. And you look at the same number of wins, 8, and Simba Bhora, you've lost 2, but you've less draws, which is 5. So that's bringing in the competition, and the Scotland sitting on third with 6 points, but they still have that game against Chicken that I'm sure they'll get maximum points, which is 3, and go to 29, and they'll get it for 4, and that's pressure or more. And looking into Matchday 16 of the Tasmania Premier Soccer League, I believe that that game United, if they are going to shine, if they're going to show their pedigree, their recovery, that will be the game to pick up maximum points. But you know how he reports bad, that is what they don't draw the win games there. So you look at that and say to yourself, if Caps United can get maximum points, that should be a good thing for them. They are recovering this season, and with the teams that really get in the middle, they be getting into that big back. But we also, I'm sure, we have to talk about how FC Platinum themselves have been outstanding. With now they're starting to score goals, they're starting to pick, and that one team that does well, particularly in the second half of the season, and it's looking at the right time. That's Bikita after that win with what this is the biggest win of the season so far. And you look at the side and you say to yourself, this is a team that is probably going to be in the thick of things. They're not too far away from the log leaders. Indeed, 8 points behind. But the log leaders, we are just on the halfway mark.
Yeah. Coming, FC Platinum, they are a dangerous side once they click and they start winning. You should also realize that this is a team that they are usually slow starters. And once they start, they become a problem. And like you rightly say, they are not that far from MWOS. And one thing that people should realize probably is, it's we are barely at midway. We are not even midway. So we still have around more than 17 games to play. So things can really change. You'll be shocked to see FC Platinum, coming back into the fore. You'll be shocked to see Ngezi Platinum. I think it's too early to actually rule some of these teams out. Look at FC Platinum there; they haven't lost a game. They had a series of draws that was not good for them, but the fact that it's proving difficult for anyone to beat them tells you that the moment they are able to turn those draws into victories, like they did over the weekend, it becomes a problem. And this is one side that once they get into the gear, you will be in trouble. So it's really going to be interesting. And I'm not so sure if MWOS are going to be able to sustain the pressure, because you've got to have a lot of resistance. You've got to have probably the biggest stamina if you're going to be on top from maybe week 1 to week number 34. It's a bit tough. You look at where I'll tell you the most dangerous teams at this point, if you ask me, it's Simba Bhora and Scotland, because they are playing just around the summit. They're not going on top. They are maintaining their play. It's like some energy preservation of some sort. At some point, wash out for them in the run-in. When you're looking at maybe the last 5 games, you are going to see something that is going to be interesting. So if our MWOS, as much as if you are able to sustain the pole position up until the end, then it's fine. But you also need to be able to manage it, because the second half is going to present challenges. It's not going to be a bed of roses. And it's going to be tough. Remember, they're going to come to Harare to play against Caps United. They're going to come to Harare to play against Scotland. They're going to go to Bulawayo to play against Highlanders. So the fixtures, it's going to be interesting.
And but the one thing that I believe we need to talk about is ZPC Kariba. Despite their heavy loss against this season, they've really impressed me where they are sitting, because they are sitting 6th with 22 points, mind you, despite that they haven't win. and they've been progressing quietly. I've noticed, same as TelOne. For me, these are the two teams that, for me, so far they have been impressive. Particularly TelOne, for me, you've been outstanding. Imagine going to Chisumbanje, Greenfuel, getting some points there. Very few teams can do that, but your partner managed to do that and get maximum points there. And I feel those are two surprise packages for me this season, doing quite well in the league. And as we approach, Matchday 16, 17, 18, and 18 17 is our halfway mark. If you look at it and say this is potentially a sign that can cause a few problems, a few challenges, and compete the title tonight for both teams. And up there, talk of your most Simba Bhora Scotland, FC Platinum, FC Platinum season picking up and causing a lot of trouble. It's one of those teams that are challenging for the title. I'm not ruling them out for the title.
You're not ruling out TelOne?
FC Platinum.
Okay, FC Platinum. Yeah, I just wanted to, TelOne, I think the investment is paying off. Yeah, this is one side that was heavily invested in this season, and the results are showing on the field of play. I think Yadah is doing well. We need to commend him. But ZPC Kariba, like you alluded to, they were able this season, or they are able this season, to turn the draws from last season into victory, because they are picking up points, and like you rightly said, they are within a very respectable position. But I thought you were also going to mention. I thought you were also going to mention the Herentals. They have been the best performing Harare side for the past 2 seasons. Yeah, in the past 2 seasons, they have been the best performing Harare side. And I think, well, that's prior to the coming in of Scotland. But I think they are the second after Scotland from the Harare side. They're doing quite well. We need also maybe to commend them for the hard work. But TelOne, they have been very, very impressive. They are doing well. I think it's one side that has been solid, and you can tell that Yadah is doing something. And when he tells you of his ambitions, then you can then see he is a serious fella who actually has a vision, and is showing that he is very capable. I would have said he's punching above his weight rather, but if you look at how they have invested as a team, I think it's one thing that people need to take seriously.
And we can't rule out also, we can't end the discussion without touching on the trouble now that is brewing at Highlanders. Now find themselves 10th as well after a promising start, and Ndala giving $1 million promised to them through a benefit weakness for them to wrap up their season. I think off season now they need to add something in their team to help them, push up the lot and not over below the bottom, or in the bottom half of the log this season, because I feel with the support that they have, they're potentially of the big three, they are the ones who can with snapping up good points and closing in that gap as well. That'll be quite interesting, and it's set days for Dynamos. It looks like it's not coming for Dynamos because I think the second draws in the league so far, 8 or so. Third most draws because the Greenfuel 9, FC Platinum 11, then Dynamos 8, and then a number of 7s that include MWOS, Kariba, ZPC Kariba continuing that trajectory. Get the Platinum as well. We've got 7, draws this season. Bikita Minerals as well. They've been drawing quite a lot of games, 7 of them as well this season. Chicken In as well, 7 draws as well. So you look at these teams that if they turn the corner, it's going to be a very big congestion for the top of 4 finish there for the North. But will it happen?
Let's talk about Highlanders, guys.
Welcome back.
Oh yeah, I was letting you guys talk.
You are taking a sabbatical.
Yeah, well, to let the experts talk. Highlanders, 5 games, no wins, 3 losses. The third losses, of course, over the weekend, and 2 draws. Of course, you could feel it in Emangomeni that, you know, the fans weren't happy with what was going on the field. Valentine, tell us what's going on with Highlanders.
And Dala, you know, Kunzima. Everyone doesn't want to blame. They think, from what I gather, people think Kayut is not the right man for the job. To carry Highlanders forward, he has let the team down because of his team selection. Most people don't agree with his team selection, which is, fine. They always say, always mention that the fans team never loses through. Of course, Sakti Zambwa who mentioned that the team of fans you are moving straight. So you look at that, and administratively as well, I think there is a lot that Highlanders needs to sort out. There, I think it's also trickling into the field of play, which is a huge challenge for them. So quite a number of Highlanders, not only that they had a poor pre-season, but now you would have expected players to have gelled. The coach, some of these tactics with the right kind of players. But let's see when the window opens and see how they are going to, bolster their team and try and improve. But if it continues on this story, I'm sure the Emangomeni fans will be fully cut and at this juncture, and I'm sure also pressure is mounting.
Bevan, you've got input on this?
Yeah, I feel it's more about the quality, if you ask me. I'm personally accustomed to Highlanders having probably one of the best players in the Premiership, or having the best player in the Premiership. This is the Highlanders that I know, where you've got quality players, right from the goalkeeper to the centre forward. But if you ask me today, one player that I would pick out and say, okay, this one is quality. Mason Mishori, quality player. But the rest, maybe average. On a normal or a very good Highlanders here, a number of those players would not make the Highlanders first team. So it's do with the quality, but then again, I understand because these big teams of late have felt issues, the challenge that they felt. They've got competition, big competition for quality players from these emerging affluent teams, as Valentine would put it. You remember back in the day, it would be every player stream to play for Highlanders. Throughout the country, it would be every player's dream to play for Highlanders, every player's dream to play for Kwekwe United. But nowadays, because of the changes that have taken place, be it economically, be it socially, be it in every sphere, really, there are changes, and the traditional things have been brushed aside, whereby because of the professionalization of the game, it has become a proper career. It's no longer recreation as it once was. So somebody is going there as employment, and they're going to a place where they are going to derive the best for them financially. So they're losing quality. And my suggestion would be to have proper junior policy. Well, Highlanders, they've never really moved away from grooming. But then again, the challenge has been if Highlanders is going to lose Lino Chuku, they're going to lose Peter Mduo, they're going to lose Chigumira, they're going to lose all these players that they've lost. It usually does not happen. Even if you are going to be producing the players at the conveyor belt, producing, but if these affluent teams are offering stuff that is better, they are constantly going to lose even their products. So what you want is, besides having players that have the Islanders DNA, you also need to have the clubs being run properly, or at least in a way that is going to maybe match what these boys are looking for.
We've got a question here from one of our viewers on our timeline. It says, what do you guys think about the progress at the National Sports Stadium? What's your take? Maybe Bernard?
Well, I'm seeing pictures. I'll be honest, I haven't made time to go and see physically. I'm seeing pictures. I've seen them doing the drainage at the National Sports Stadium. That was becoming a problem. It would be waterlogged if it was heavy rains. What I would suggest is let whoever is doing so take their time and do the right things. I would not have a situation where we rush so that we say we want to have the Warriors play at the National Sports Stadium in September. I think there's time for that to happen and for proper work to be done. My issue is, let us do proper work. Let us have the right drainage. Let us have the right curators doing the pitch, so that when it then finally is reopened, we get to have a proper pitch. Unlike the situation that is obtaining at Referral Stadium, we were called for the reopening of First Stadium. But in all honesty, the only thing that was really made there was the car park. You get it? So we need the progress at the National Sports Stadium to continue, but let us not rush things. Let us do things properly. Let us have a facility that is world class. That's my take on the progress. Yeah, it may not be as fast as people would want, but I feel let us manage the progress. Let us have the right, quality work being done.
Valentine, Bevan doesn't want us to cut any corners so that we watch the Warriors in September. You'd rather have a quality pitch and we watch the Warriors like forever in the National Sports Stadium. Do you agree?
I certainly agree, and I think we've got a better option that to be done by September. It's Yadah Stadium. Like the progress that's being made there is part of their hard work. And I think because initially they've done well with the pitch, they've learned with how the hard stadium was done and how they can improve. And they've gotten a couple of officials to come in and give them a bit of advice as well. So I believe the National Sports Stadium it's a National Sports Stadium, and it doesn't have to be a football stadium only. It's a multi-facility stadium. So we have to take all the measures that we need. We have to do the things right and get everything right, because it's a multi-purpose stadium. So let's get everything right. Let's not be selfish. Let's not make it all about football. Let's make it all about all the sports that can be accommodated at the National Sports Stadium. So yeah, I just agree. Let's not rush to bring back the National Sports Stadium. Let's also try and encourage and help if government has to play a role and if resources and whatever are needed to make the Yadah Stadium a huge success, in as much as they will own the privately owned stadium. But I think for the nation, that's our answer for the Warriors to play when it comes September.
Sorry, Valentine. Someone here says, where's Valentine on the commentary team? We miss him. Someone misses you. Where are you? What are you doing?
I'm around. They can catch me on radio, most importantly.
I'm not. I don't think they're talking about radio. They want to see you on TV, mate. Make it happen.
My listening, I'm sure they are watching this. They'll aside me.
What did you say?
The producers are listening.
So you now want to throw it. You want to throw it to me now? No, okay.
We didn't say anything.
I promise you. The next
producers are listening.
The next game, you will be the one doing the commentary. After the midweek. After the midweek fixture, you will be doing commentary. And
so there you go, ladies.
It's most likely going to be somewhere in the Lovell.
There you go.
We're going to the Lovell there, mate.
Huh?
Valentine, you're going to the Lovell. You happy?
Yeah, somewhere. There's a beautiful stadium. There's a beautiful stadium there. There's a beautiful stadium there. A venue that I love so much. I think you will be doing commentary from there.
I don't think Valentine.
So there you have it. Yeah, it's an assignment. It's duty. When duty calls, we perform. You see.
Next time, don't comment on the live stream, eh? The producers will throw you to the. All right, guys. Thank you very much for joining us here. Let's do this again next week. Before we go, midweek game. Bevan, what are we having?
Indeed. Yeah, indeed. The midweek fixtures are looking good. You look at TelOne taking on ZPC Kariba. That's a huge match for TelOne at home against the side that is for that top four fifth. ZPC Kariba for me, I think package of the season. I think in my prediction I'd say that those may survive relegation. Then TelOne, I'd given them the top set. I'm not surprised with how Then you've got the best performing Harare side besides Scotland, that's the Herentals. The students take on FC Platinum. And you know one thing, Herentals doesn't like losing against, these so-called big teams, the former champions. They always put up the show. So you should be in for a big surprise for that one. Then Simba Bhora taking on Bikita Minerals. For me, it was an eye. Simba Bhora, they're on the right trajectory. Joel Pata is doing the magic there. We have to give him his props. He has done well under the whole lot of pressure. He had to bring in a new squad after the bulk of his squad. That was the Simba Bhora went to Scotland and he had to rebuild, and he's doing well. He's showing his credentials quite well. Manica Dynamos versus Highlanders. Manica Dynamos, I think Janos Tapera is really under pressure. He's the man. I think if he's next on the line to do his job, he doesn't start picking up points. I think he needs to start picking up points.
You don't like prophets of doom.
No,
prophets of doom, Valentine.
I'm looking at the investment that Manica Diamond is putting so far, and how they need to perform and how they need to be challenging for the time. And where they are right now, they're not right where I'm sure they would love to be. Then Chicken investors get the Platinum Stars, baptism of fire, okay, for Joey Antipas under pressure. So I also hear that the Chicken in the house is ready there, and the benefactors for the sponsors are not really keen on football anymore. Some of these are just rumors that I'm sharing with you. Allege that probably they would rather have the team, out of the league for some reason based on to them. But these are just rumors and speculation that's doing the round. And also, the debacle of Tostao Kwashi being moved to the Division 2 side and him not appearing for any game as well today. This was not part of my contract, rightfully so for him as well. So against Platinum Stars, blowing hot and cold when they need to be blowing hot most of the time. and that's a bit of under pressure contextual rugby, and I'm sure you would love to see your business in you would have wanted to have Cape United with immediate impact, but I'm sure Royal came first for him. Then Thursday, Dynamos versus Yadah at the Faro Stadium. Dynamos should start picking up points, but they are playing a very difficult double side. That is Yadah, very disciplined. And the coming in of Ngezi Sajongwe, it's like difficult. And Socha Minuka needs to find the magic there. So Dynamos should start picking up points to avoid relegation. Then Kwekwe United take on Final. We saw Kwekwe United, there are no pushovers, and at home, this is a good game for them at Matchday Stadium against the Final side that is equally struggling like them, and they need to start picking up points. Surely should be 3 points for them there to keep the relegation rules, and since they anchor the bottom of the bottom table. Then we've got the big one, Falls versus Cape United on Thursday. I think here a big test for Cape United, but also for them to continue what they've been doing, and they have to continue winning at home and get maximum points to remain at the apex of the log. But this could be the game that could change things that come the midweek as we go to halfway part of this.
Bevan, there you have it there. I think that was an audition for Valentine to do all the games this season. He just went through all the fixtures, didn't even care about our opinions. He was just like, you're going to listen to me.
Give me my perspective of all the things.
Okay, awesome, great. Somebody asked you to do that, but your initiation.
You made my job easy. You made my job easy, and I think actually I've got a program concept that you'll be presenting that does what he just did.
Valentine, you got a
I've
job
got a
now.
job for him. Yeah,
you got a job now. It's not easy to get a job.
There you go.
So you are auditioning. But for me, the most interesting is Dynamos Yadah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually a very explosive game. It's an interesting game, but I think we are at a stage where Dynamos needs to get it right. One way or the other, they need to get the results taken, because as impossible as it may sound, they may actually get relegated if God forbid, but if they continue the way Dynamos is being run and the way things are happening at Dynamos, the risk is there, and it will be very, very sad for Zimbabwean football to lose such, for the lack of a better expression, a landmark in Zimbabwean football.
The solution they need to solve everything for them.
Huh?
We'll make a plan.
Yeah, but you've got to understand, for you to make a plan, sometimes the team that you want to make a plan for has to be showing something. But let's hope the 1st of July, when the window opens, they are going to bolster the squad. I think, if you ask me, Cape United is Cape United because of Dynamos. Highlanders because of Dynamos. What do I mean by that? I mean, it is the rivalry that exists between these, or amongst these clubs, that defines any of those clubs. I don't think if Highlanders are to remain in the Premiership without the other two, they would enjoy the Premiership. Or if any of those teams is to remain without the other two, would they enjoy it? Or even worse off, even if all the three are not part of, the Premiership.
Scotland and MWOS.
Yeah, but my question is innocent. How long into the future are we going to have these teams? We have had bigger. We've had these teams coming, and I was looking at the final log standing from 1997, the Premiership, where Dynamos won. There are only 3 teams that are still around. Do you want to know which one? Highlanders, Dynamos, and Cape United.
And Simba Bhora.
No, Highlanders, Dynamos, and Cape United. So these are your ever present, guys. It will be said, and I think something needs to be done. Even the owner has to somehow come to a compromise to say, okay, this thing is really in danger, and we need to change our mentality. Innocent, you can be the majority shareholder of a company or an institution whilst having 30%. You know that.
Evan, we've had this
So
discussion
you need
before.
people to come on board. With money and resources.
Nothing has changed. We've had this discussion before. Nothing has changed. Chichiruchang, and we're
wait. We are going to halfway. Wait till it's week 25 or week 30, and it's day. That's when people will wake up and realize, new rate.
All right, guys.
So that would be a problem.
All right, guys. Let's talk again. Maybe we could have another special on Friday where we talk about the midweek fixtures and then looking into the weekend. But thank you very much. And thank you very much for everyone who participated in this live stream. Join us again on Friday. Are you guys traveling or you're covering the games in Harare this weekend?
There is, like I said, most likely will be at Gibo.
Oh, Gibo.
Yeah, most likely will be at Gibo for.
But midweek match that we're showing live is the Dynamos versus Yadah match, right?
Yes.
All right, so we'll take a look at that match maybe on Friday, depending on whether these guys travel or not. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Always a pleasure, mate.